Hello everyone, my name is Madhubhanu. My registration number is E2240414 and this is my project submission for Introduction to Mobile Application Development as part of the Bachelor of Information Technology external degree program at the University of Moratuwa. The assignment is called Word Guessing Game. The mobile app challenges the user to guess a random word select from an online API. You have 10 attempts to guess correctly with point deduct for incorrect guesses. The app also provides tips and clues and it features a point system, timer and leaderboard. Let me walk you through the app's main features and its development. Now let's move on the demonstration of the word guessing game. In this segment I will walk you through the application, feature and functionalities, highlighting how each part works in practice. I will also explain the implementation details as I perform different action within the app. Let's divine. Let's begin with the onboarding process. When the user pressed open the app, they are asked to enter the name. As you can see, I am entering my name. My name is Dilanka. My name, and the app will be remind it for few the session. This was implemented using shared preferences which allows the app to store and retrieve store data even after closing app. When the user pressed open app, they are presented with clear instruction on how to launch and play the game after clicking the instruction button. Now click the back button. Click the start button to begin the game. You can now see the word randomly picked from API. Now let's move on the main feature, guessing the word. The app randomly select a word from API and keep secret. The user can type in their guesses here and submit it. For example, I am going to guess apple. The app then check if my guesses is correct or not. Wrong guesses. The 10 points are deducted from the starting score of 100. If the score reaches 0, a new word automatically assigned and the game restarts. As you can see, after these wrong guesses, my score dropped 10 points. Next, we have the letter occurrence feature. For a cost of 5 points, the user can check how many times particular letter appeared in the secret word. I am going to check the I letter. Point deduct 5. The apps tell me how many instances of that letter are in the word, and my score are dropped 5 points. Reviewing word length process. This word letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 letters. The user can also ask from the length of the secret word for 5 points. The app will be reveal how many letters are in the word. I am going to reveal the length now. 6 letters. As you can see, it's tell me the word is 6 letters long and 5 points were deducted from my score. Tip, tip features. If user has made 5 incorrect guesses, the app will provide a tip or clue to help them out. For example, if the word hard to guess, the app can suggest synonyms or antonyms. After the fifth incorrect guess, the app provides me with the related word to help figure it out. These clues come from the Treasure API, which fetches the synonyms or antonyms from an online treasure. 1, 2, 3. Not found. A word instance. Cloud not could not find synonyms or antonyms for that word. The API will provide both synonyms and antonyms as tips after few incorrect guesses. You will receive a hint with the word that has a similar meaning, as well as one with the opposite meaning to help guide your next guesses. This clue comes from the Treasure API, which fetches a synonym or antonym from an online treasure. Look at shows you how to connect to the API and find synonyms or antonyms for that word. Timer. Another key feature is timer. The app track how long the user take to guess the word correctly. You count down running time. The feature adds fun challenge. User try to guess as quick possible. Yes. When the word is guesses correctly, 100 points are found. Again, the time is spent 236 seconds. Time is spent on the match is also shown. If the correct word cannot be the cases in the 10 cases, the correct word will be shown at the end. Correct word is deal. Shown correct word. Now let's take a look at the leaderboard. After each game, the user score and time are submitted to global leaderboard using the Dreamlaw API. Click View Leaderboard button. Open the leaderboard. In this case, the leaderboard shown an error as unable to connect with API. Back. Display leaderboard. Not connect. Errors API. Let's talk about the user interface. I designed it with usability in mind. The layout is simple and intuitive, making it easy for user to guess words, check letters, and request tips without confusion. I use combination of constraint layout and linear layout. The background is set so that I am a user and my registration number is shown below. Now let's move on the code review and design decision interaction. Having completed the demonstration, we will not shift our focus to review of the code and the design decision behind the word guessing game. In this section, I will discuss the logic implemented, the code in practice followed, and the layout and design choice that enhance user experience. We'll combine insight from the previous segment to ensure comprehensive understanding of the application. Let's get started. Now I want to show you how I connect to the random word API and Tracer API from API Ninja. First, in the API Ninja dashboard, you can see I have registered from the API which generates the word that user has to guesses. This API integrated into the app using retrofit and fetches random word every time the game starts when a new word is needed. Next, IV also use the Tracer API from the API Ninja, which provides synonyms or antonyms after 5 incorrect guesses. Some of the code. Here is the main activity. Let's start by looking at the imports and package declaration. This section includes necessary libraries like retrofit, API calls, shared preferences for storing user data, and other Android components that enable our application to function effectively. Next, we have the class declaration and variable use our application. Here we define the main activity class and declare various member variable to manage the game state, including the API service, user point, and secret word. Now let's take a look at the onCreate method. This is where it initialize our activity. We set up the user interface, initialize API services, and check if the username is already stored shared preferences. If not, we prompt the entire the name. Here we can see the timer functionalities. This include starting the timer and update timer, the display, and the stopping timer the game ends. The helps in creating the time bound challenge for the players. Shown in input dialog box. See, this section handles fetching the random word from the API. When the user click this button, the app makes a network request to retrieve a new word from the guessing game. This part of the code processes the user guesses. If the guesses is correct, the user is congratulations. If incorrect point are deducted and the user is informed their remaining point. This method checks how many times is guessed the letter appearance in the secret word. It first retrieves the user input and checks if secret word is available. If the input is valid one single letter, it's count the occurrence of the letter in the secret word. This method allows player to reveal the length of the secret word they are trying to guesses. When the user triggers this action, the program checks if they have at least 5 points. If they do, it deducts the point and display the number of letters in the secret word. This method provides player with helpful tips after they have made 5 incorrect guesses. Initially, it checks if the player has reached the threshold of guesses. If they haven't, message is displayed indicating that a tip cannot be provided yet. When the player is eligible, the app makes network call retrieve synonyms or antonyms for the secret word. Upon receiving the response is successful, it constructs a message displaying the pressed synonyms or antonyms found or indicates if none are available. If the request fails, appropriate error message are logged and displayed to the player. This feature enhances the game by giving player additional clue and aid their guessing. Reset. This method reset the game to initial state. It starts by restoring the player point to 100 and resetting the guesses count to 0. The point display on the screen are updated accordingly. If there is ongoing countdown timer, it is cancelled to ensure it doesn't continue running after the game has been reset. The remaining time is set back to 0 and the timer display is updated to reflect this change. This functionality allows player to start fresh game easily, ensure smooth and engaging game experience. API package include API service Java interfaces. This code defines the API service interface, which is responsible for making API requests to fetch a random word for the guessing game. It uses Retribute popular networking library for Android Studio. So my API key. Show my API key. Show my API key. This code defines the leaderboard API services interface, which handles network requests related to the leaderboard for the word guessing game. It also uses retrofit for making the request. This code established the retrofit client's class, which is responsible for creating and managing the retrofit instance used for network operation in the word guessing game app. Tip API services. This code defines Tip API services interface. Tip API service interface, which is responsible for fetching synonyms and antonyms information for a given word guessing API. My API key and Treasure API connected. API connect to API connected. Leaderboard response class. This code defines the leaderboard response class, which is used to model the response received from the leaderboard API. Random word response. This code defines the random word responses class, which is used to model the response received when fetching the random word API. The code defines the treasure responses class, which is used to model the response received when the fetching synonyms or antonyms from the API. This class. This code defines the instruction activity class, which display the instruction for playing the word guessing game. This code defines the leaderboard activity class, which display the leaderboard for the word guessing game. Let's move the XML part and designing. This XML layout file defines the user interface for the instruction activity in the word guessing game and instruction page design layout. This show. Leaderboard activity XML. This XML layout defines the user interface for the leaderboard activity in the word guessing game. This show the leaderboard page interfaces. This XML layout file defines the user interface for the main activity of the guesses the word game. Main interfaces. So this. Connection to internet permission, Android manifest XML file. To conclude, the mad word guessing game app is fun and interactive guessing the game with the features such as word guessing, letter check-in, a timer and global leaderboard. The app is designed with a user-friendly interface. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough of my project and thank you for your time and consideration.